Hey guys, and welcome back to AzuruPlays, a Professor Layton game. It's actually called Layton's Mystery Journey, and the main character is Catriel. So, Inspector Hastings, whatever's the matter, you look positively beside yourself. You won't believe what's happened. Who's this loudmouth, long-nosed nerk? He's got more collar than me. So true. This is Inspector Hastings, Charles, from Scotland Yard. Despite appearances, he's actually responsible for ensuring London's safety. What's that mutt doing here? Don't tell me you've gone and bought yourself a pet cat. A pet? A pet? Do I look like a pet? Don't answer that. It looks as though Inspector Hastings can't understand what you're saying, Charles. Of course he can't. Like I said, it's an exclusive club. Most people just hear woofs and barks. And yet in a straw poll of those present here, 2 out of the 3 are in the club. Very exclusive. I can't help it if the super snitch here isn't one of the enlightened ones. What are you muttering about, Cat? Sorry, Inspector. To answer your question, no, Charles here isn't a pet. Rather, he's my very first client. The first to have signed on the dotted line and enlist my services. Well, strictly speaking, miss, he can't sign anything, of course. He's digitally impaired. An excellent observation, Ernest. Let me rephrase that then. The first to have put his paw print on my paperwork. Is this some kind of wind-up? Well, anyway, we ain't got the time to be discussing pets. I've got a case I need you on, Cat. And I need you on it right now. How intriguing. Why the urgency? And why do you need me in particular, Inspector? Because we all know you're the best. You've proved that when you've helped me out in the past. With your little grey cells on the case, we'll have it solved in no time, I think. Oh, well, probably. His confidence in you is inspiring, Cat. Don't you worry, Inspector. There's not a case in the world that Miss Layton couldn't crack. Any mystery solved. That's the Layton Detective Agency motto, you know? Well, let's hope you can put your money where your mouth is, because we need all the help we can get on this one. Perhaps it's time you told us what the case is actually about. Well, it's hard to believe, to be honest. I mean, you'd never expect something like this to get nicked. Something's been stolen? A burglary case, is it? Of sorts, yeah. But you're not your average run-of-the-mill burglary. This affects everyone in London, in the whole of Britain. Gosh, really? Whatever could be so important? I think you better just come to the scene, and then I'll explain everything. That sounds like a very good idea. Lead the way. Hello? Isn't there a little matter we're forgetting here? What about figuring out my true identity? Oh yes, well, the trouble is, this new case just sounds a lot more interesting. Interesting? You decided which cases to investigate based on how interesting they are, do you know? Do you now? Exactly. I'm glad you understand. Well, pardon me for only being a talking dog. I really must try harder to be more interesting. Oh now, Shirley, don't be like that. Your case is important to us, but we're experiencing a high volume of inquiries at present, and you've had one new inquiry. One. Never mind. Clearly the inspector here has his knickers in a twist about something. Let him jump the queue if he has to. Good. Good that's settled then. Now, let's get to the scene and start investigating. Where are we going, Inspector? Just down the road as it happens, to Big Ben. Big Ben? The Elizabeth Tower, I presume. Not Burly Benjamin who lives a few doors down, surely. Case 1. The Hand That Feeds. Big Ben. Ooh. Good gracious, the hour hand, it's missing. Yep, I'm afraid so. It was reported to us this morning. So that's what this is all about. One of the hands from the clock tower has been stolen. Before I continue, I just want to point out, Big Ben is always covered up with scaffolding. There's always stuff in the way, so it doesn't look as pretty as it looks like in this picture. So don't be fooled. Unbelievable, isn't it? We gotta catch the hooligan who did it and get him back. Get the Anne back, quick and smart. Scottish accents are not my forte. But there are 4 clock faces on the Elizabeth Tower, aren't there? Even if this 1 hour hand is missing, the other 3 faces will still show the correct time, surely. That's right. I mean, certainly it may be a little inconvenient perhaps, but to describe this as affecting all of Britain, isn't that rather an exaggeration? Yes, my better half said the same thing, but it's much worse than a bit of inconvenience not knowing the right time. The problem is we're due a visit tomorrow from Ambassador... Oh dear. Fox du Fafa? Fox du Fafa. French, I don't know. Don't ask me. Oh yes, I remember reading about it in the Times. It's the anniversary of the Treaty of Rome, isn't it? Oh, he's Italian? Oh, my bad. I don't know why I said it weirdly too. I'm just excited to record it clearly. But what does that have to do with the Elizabeth Tower? The ambassador's going to be received at a venue in the sight of the Houses of Parliament and Big Ben. And as a symbol of the timeless friendship and cooperation between our 2 lands, they planned on giving him a present. A pendant modelled on the hands of Big Ben. Oh dear. Yeah, so you can imagine that the conversation's going to turn to the subject of the clock tower at some point. And it's not going to look too clever if the very ends the pendant is modelled on have been half-inched by some low-life scoundrel the Met can't catch. Obviously it'll be plastered all over the foreign press as well. It's a blooming disgrace is what it is. I see. So that's why you're intent on tracking down the culprit and recovering the missing hand before tomorrow's engagement. Exactly. We really need your help on this one, Kat. The animation looks very like the Me animations on the Wii. No, it's just me. The art in like the cinematic stuff looks very anime, but I don't hate it. Of course, I'll do everything I can. Our national pride is at stake here, as you say. Well, that's a relief. I was worried you'd turn me down. Obviously, Scotland Yard has been carrying on with its own investigations at the same time. It's all hands on deck. I've got officers scouring the area around the tower, so you can ask them if they've got any leads. Leave it to me, Inspector. We'll get started at once. Gosh, miss, it's so rousing when you take the bull by the horns like this. Oh no, wait a minute. What now? Well, as is our first case since the establishment of the Layton Detective Agency, I better show you the ropes. Let me explain how I like to carry out my investigations. Oh yes, please do, Miss Layton. Tutorial time. In the investigation mode, the cursor on the screen changes to a magnifying glass. Use the left stick to move the magnifying glass around and examine every inch of the screen. Or scene even. Sometimes when you move the magnifying glass over a particular point, it will turn orange. When you identify a point of interest like that, press A to find out what's there. You can also use the directional buttons to quickly snap the magnifying glass between people and other areas of interest. You need to master the controls of both. Okay. So the left stick to move the magnifying glass around and the directional buttons to choose the area of interest rapidly. Alright, I think I've got the hang of that. Got the hang of licking her boots? Yeah, I mean, you're a fast learner, Pinstripes. So, let's get straight down to business and start investigating. Let's use the top of the lamppost, shall we? Use the left stick. Okay. Investigate the lamppost. There you go. You found a hint coin. Golly, a coin dropped down. Look. Yes, that's a hint coin. They can buy you hints when you're solving puzzles. Of course, like real money, once you spend them, they're gone. So only use them when you really need to. You'll find them hidden in all sorts of places, so leave no stone unturned. Yes, I see. So hint coins are shy little creatures, are they? Come on, Cat. What are you dawdling there for, eh? The case, woman, the case! Now, Inspector. Less haste and more speed. Investigations need to be carried out carefully, and above all, you must record everything at each step. Teaching grandma to suck eggs, aren't you? Let's just go over the most important items in my bag. Select the bag icon in the bottom left corner of the screen to open up the bag menu, or you can just press X. Cat's journal contains all of my notes about the investigation so far, very useful for recapping. To archive the case history, choose Save from the menu. That will make a record of the story so far. This is the puzzle index. Any puzzle that we've encountered are recorded in here so you can tackle once you've already completed again if the mood takes you. There's a brand new puzzle in the daily puzzles every single day. If you also delve into my wardrobe from time to time, I can pop into some different outfits. Blimey, you got enough in that bag of yours, Cat? Ever heard of tidying? It's a crazy idea where you actually get rid of stuff you don't need. Oh no, it's perfectly fine as it is. The trick with any handbag is to know where to find everything and what to use when. Good, that's covered the fundamentals of the investigative process. Now it's time to put theory into practice and investigate the clock tower. The clocks are awfully high off the ground though, aren't they? Then you must zoom in, Ernest. Zoom in, miss? How'd you do that? Sometimes you may notice the magnifying glass colour changing to blue instead of orange while you're investigating. That indicates a place where you can zoom in and take a closer look. All you have to do is press A and everything will appear larger. Very nasty. Well, it's extremely important to be thorough when you're investigating, you see. So why not zoom in now and take a closer look at the clock face. Wow. All over the place. Zoom in. Then we can do the magnifying thing. It's true, the shorthand really is missing. Ah, but of course the other clock faces all have hands. Yeah, it's only on the one side that the shorthand's been taken. The other three are unaffected. Oh, so it's just one shorthand that we're looking for. Even a shorthand from one of those clocks, one of the clocks on Big Ben Clock Tower would be a very sizable object. Those innuendos on another level though. Not something that would disappear easily. Obviously, we've searched all around the clock face as well as the base of the tower. But that and's just disappeared into thin air. Dude, these apostrophes. Haha, this is turning into a very interesting case indeed. A Court of London doesn't know what time it is and you call it interesting. Alright, now that we know what we're dealing with, it's time to start investigating. We should start by stepping back and looking at the bigger picture again. So, select zoom out or just press B. Where do you start, Miss Layton? Well, time is of the essence. We have to solve this before Ambassador Fox Dufafa arrives tomorrow. Let's begin by asking Inspector Hastings' team what they've learnt so far. That's right. Why do the work yourself when you can get someone else to do it for you? Nonsense, Shell. You can't afford to duplicate effort, that's all. Of course. Come along then, you two. No time to lose. Coming, miss. Okay. Oh, it tells me what the tasks are. Ah, it's a rather pleasant tree here with all the greenery, don't you think? Okay. Inspector Hastings, can you summarise what you found out so far? Not a fat lot, really. There's been a Bobby on the beat here last night who confirmed nothing amiss at 11:50. It wasn't until 6 this morning that we got a report from a stunned local who happened to glance at the clock. We came to confirm the report straight away and found it to be true. An hour and was well and truly gone. So at 11:50 last night the clock was fine, but by 6 in this morning the hand was missing. So we're looking at a window of about 6 hours in which the crime was committed. That's about the size of it, yep. And wasn't there anybody else who looked at the clock tower in that 6-hour window? We're looking into that now. We've got officers asking locals if they saw anything. There must be someone who looked at the clock tower in that time. No doubt if we went door to door we could find some witnesses, but we just don't have that kind of time. So we just have to manage with what we know already, you mean? Pretty much. And those signs are massive. It would have taken someone with a fair old while to take it off. Blech. It would have taken someone a fair old while to make off with it, that's for sure. 6 hours. Okay. Fit the clue and put it in the right place. That looks about right? We found a clue. 6-hour window. Oh, that's so cute. As your investigation progresses, you will unearth key pieces of information that form clues. Each case has 6 clues to uncover, and once you've found all 6, you'll be able to solve the case. Clues may arise from statements that appear to have nothing to do with anything. Can you use your sleuthing skills to piece it all together? If you want to look at the clues you've gathered so far, open Catriel's bag and look at the current case file. When you need to refresh your memory about a case, the case file is the place to look. Okay, so far we know, according to Inspector Hastings, the clock hand must have been stolen in roughly a 6-hour window between 11:50 PM last night and 6 AM this morning. Case files have been added to Kat's bag. Ah, it's so exciting to be investigating a case at last. What do we do first, miss? We'll start by interviewing members of the public, Ernest. Gosh, that sounds like a proper detective work. Let's find out if anyone around here has noticed what's wrong with the clock tower and if they might have useful information for us. There are rather a lot of passerby here, aren't they? How do you know who to ask? The more people we talk to, the better. So let's get started. When there's more than one place to investigate, you'll see multiple magnifying glass icons displayed at the top right of the screen in the investigation mode. Once you've examined one of those places, it'll be marked with a tick icon. So keep an eye on the magnifying glass icons and the tick icons on the top right corner of the screen as you're hunting for clues. Okay. This guy looks really suspicious. There's a thing we can talk to. So, talk to the cameraman first. Looks like a super nerd. Top of the morning to ya. Got a minute to answer a few questions. Oh, alright. I'm investigating the extraordinary disappearance of the little hand of Big Ben, you see. Did either of you happen to see anything around these parts last night? Such as, for instance, a person or persons transporting a large hand-like object. Gosh, he gets straight to the point, doesn't he? He's asking the very questions I was about to ask him. Oh, where are the manners, eh? I'm sorry, I'm Douglas Dirt. Everyone calls me Doe. Doe? Oh gosh. I'm a reporter with the London Times, you see. Are you readers at all? Oh, I'll say, personally, I think the London Times is the best paper in the city. Ahaha, you're too kind, lad. Although I do make it my mission to dig up the most dirtiest of dirt and uncover the most unsavoury of suits. And at present, as I mentioned, aforementionedly, I'm investigating the disappearance of Big Ben's ants. As it happens, we're investigating the same thing. Perhaps you might share anything you've learned. Sorry, investigating, you say? Well, that's a turn for the books. You don't look like detectives, I must say. If I had to guess, I'd have pegged you as a young couple walking your lovely dog on this delightful morning. Well, I am a detective. Haven't you ever heard of the Layton Detective Agency? Layton? Oh, I know of the famous Professor Layton, of course, but I didn't realise he had an agency or people in his employ. Always nice to have signed up with a complete unknown. Really inspires confidence. Oh, what a blow. Mind you, I didn't really expect anything different. Don't worry, Miss Layton. You'll be famous soon enough. I'm quite certain of that. Anyway, as it happens, I was at the office all evening yesterday penning my latest article. I did not observe Big Ben at all, but I'm afraid to say that my own investigation is just getting underway. I have nothing to impart at the present time. I see. Well, thank you anyway. I wish you all the very best with your ongoing investigative activities, of course. Likewise, sir. Good luck with yours. Hand hiccup for iconic Big Ben. Petty crime or international conspiracy. Alarm bells ring across Britain. Ha! Stories like these write themselves, eh? Gah, me thinks if it's gonna be a real smasher. It certainly is. If we don't solve this before the story breaks, there'll be all kinds of repercussions. You're right, we must press on with our investigation. Okay, we asked this dodgy looking dude. Stachan Scarfin, that's his name, what a name. Hehehehe. Well, how long has it been, would you say? How long? I'm sorry, do we know each other? I'm fairly sure I've never met you before, sir. Know each other? In a way, yes. In a way, no. I think the scarf's too tight. People are like leaves washed along in a river. Sometimes meeting, sometimes parting. You've lost me. I'm afraid I don't suppose you've noticed anything about the Elizabeth Tower last night, did you? I was already dreaming sweetly by nightfall yesterday. You're an early sleeper, aren't you? So you wouldn't have seen anything. Hehehe. Is that all you wanted? I'll tell you what, how about a little puzzle to occupy the mind? I say, a puzzle? The world is full of puzzle, Ernest. Sometimes during the course of investigation, people do come out with puzzles for you to solve. It's all part of the process. So let's see what sort of puzzle we're dealing with here. Our second puzzle, the Hands of Time. Okay. The clock is currently showing the time as 3:30 p.m. It would be nice if the hands of the clock would show midnight. What would be the minimum number of places you need to touch on the clock to show the desired time? Select the answer on the frame. Okay, budgeting display, fine. After confirming, you'll see what you've written appear in the answer frame. To change your answer, simply select the frame again. Well, for this clock, I would say it's probably 1, 2, 3, and then you just rotate it, and then it would be like, oh dude, I'm gonna get this wrong, aren't I? Because my logic is that because if you go here, right, if you go here, it becomes 6:30, but if you rotate it, it would look like 12. So technically it'd be 1, 2, 3. But if you do it 1, 2, 3, oh no, you'd have to touch it one place. Is it 1? Yeah, because it's only one place. It's only the clock hand. Let's see if that's right. Oh, that's my thinking. I'm probably getting it wrong.
This should do it, I think. Not good, Catriel, not good.
Oh no, okay, great. I might think this is what happens when I play this game. But like, how do you get to show midnight? Think of a way. Try again. Oh dear. Oh, ouch. Okay. The clock is currently showing the time of 3:30. It would be nice if the hands of the clock would show midnight. What would be the minimum number of places you need to touch on the clock to show the desired time? Okay. 2 then. Because you'd have to touch both of them to make... Oh, it's a wind-up clock? The clock is currently showing the time of 3:30 p.m. It would be nice if the hands of the clock would show midnight, but would be the minimum number of places you need to touch on the clock to show the desired time. To be honest, this is a key here. They've given a key in the image. You probably have to wind it up. So technically, you might even have to touch the clock. But then is that part of the clock though? It could just be nothing. Because you're using the key? Or it could be if you touch both the clock hands, and it would be 2. Because I can't see what else you'd have to solve.
This should do it, I think. Puzzles are made for solving.
There you go. Gotta look at the picture carefully. You did it. There's no need to touch the clock at all. All you needed to do was to wait for midnight to come. Oh. Or that. Didn't know that was an option. I thought they wanted it right there, right now. Very impressive. Let's hope you tackle all the puzzles you're going to face so convincingly. We've investigated all we can around here. I suggest we head closer to the tower. To the scene of the crime at last. I say this is rather exciting. I need you to explain how we move around during the investigation, don't I? At the bottom right hand of the screen in the investigation mode, you'll see a shoot button. Pressing that or pressing Y switches from investigation to relocation mode. The orange flashing markers show points on the map that we can move to. Pick a location you'd like us to visit and press A over it to display some information about the places in question. Then simply press A a second time or press move to go ahead and move to that location. An exclamation mark at a particular place indicates that you should head there next, for the good of the investigation. It looks like we can get inside the Elizabeth Tower from that entrance there. So let's head over and see what we can find out. Okay, so we can only move one place. So we press this, head to the base tower. Oh look, it's pixelated at the top as well. The map's not too shabby. But I think before we move on to that part, we will probably call the episode here because it's already half an hour. I hope you guys are enjoying this tutorial phase of the game. Remember to like and subscribe, and if you're interested, I still have my affiliation with Fade Grips for Grips Free Controller, that's PlayStation or for the Switch, or even cases, and you can use Azuru and get 20% off. It's been a while since I've mentioned that, so I thought I'd just throw it out. I hope you guys are enjoying it. I know the tutorial is super long and my reading skills are major rusty, but I need to get back in the flow of things. The puzzles are quirky in any Professor Layton game if you haven't tried it. You really have to think outside the box. So I hope you guys enjoyed this episode and stay tuned to hang out with me and Catriel, Ernest and Cheryl. And I'll see you all in the next episode of Azuru Plays Layton's Mystery Journey.